With Leagues 5 coming up, I get asked the same question more than any others. What is the best region to pick first? And for anyone who's not sure what I mean, in Leagues, you're region locked to just Misthalin and Karamja, and you'll only get to choose a maximum of 3 other regions from the remaining pool of 9. Your first choice is available pretty early on, but this scales up considerably with your final region taking a lot of League tasks to unlock. So it's easy to make a choice that slows you down along the way if your goal is to unlock all of the regions as quickly as possible. Let's take an example from Leagues 4. Someone chooses a ranged playthrough, and they know that they want to pick the areas Asgarnia, Tiranwin, and the desert. Well, picking the regions in this order would take you a lot longer to progress, as opposed to just slightly tweaking that order to make your life a bit easier. So back to that question. What is the best region to pick first? Well, it really got me thinking, to the point where I spent hours trawling through previous Leagues wiki pages and task lists to try and identify what was the best region to pick first. And eventually, I came to one solid conclusion. There is no best first region. And that is because it's really difficult to pick out just one factor that defines what the best region is. You know, is it the one with the most total league points up for grabs? Is it the one with the highest volume of easy and medium league tasks? How about the proximity of tasks and how quickly you can string together a bunch of them? Or is it simply just the region with the most fun content? Now, there are some regions that I would definitely consider a bad first choice and some common characteristics of good first choices. So let's talk about that. Before I get into this, I just want to say that Leagues is a fun, temporary game mode, and for the love of God, the last thing you should be stressing about is your plan for max efficiency, so just pick whichever regions you enjoy the content of the most. But getting back to the point at hand, for a region to be considered a top tier first pick, it really only needs to tick one box, with a couple of bonus extras for the real top tier choices. First, and most importantly, it needs to have a lot of early to mid game league tasks. This one is a bit of a no-brainer, but if you want to get to your second and third regions as quickly as possible, you'll need to work on the volume of league tasks completed rather than the value of them. So when we look at the distribution of tasks by difficulty in each region, we can start to see some patterns emerging. Kandarin, Kourend, and the Caridian Desert claiming the top 3 spots for regions with the most easy and medium tasks. Bonus points for if a region also has access to big early quest rewards or good early skilling methods, and more bonus points for if a region has late game content on top of all of those. Of which, out of these 3, I would agree that only 2 of them tick every box. Now, I'm sure absolutely no one is surprised to see these 3 regions standing at the top as candidates for the best first pick. The desert has more accessible minigames than any other region, and minigames usually have a ton of league points behind them. Kandarin has loads of early quests that not only typically have league tasks associated with their completion, but their XP rewards snowball you out of the early game pretty quickly. And Kourend has a great mix of both of these characteristics. So if you were thinking of picking at least one of these regions, then historically speaking, you would opt to pick it first, focus on the easy and medium tasks, and you'll have your second region unlock available in no time. It is of course very easy to forget that Leagues 5 is a brand new league, and not only will the task list look a little different this time around, but we also have the introduction of the Valmore region. And I think this makes a great candidate to join the others as competitors for the best first region choice. At the time this video will be out there for everyone, there won't be a task list by region, but I don't think we have to look far to speculate what some of the Valmore tasks would be. There are some standout features that I'd expect to form some of the easy tasks. Oh, and this is the best quest in the game, by the way. The biggest skilling features of Valmore are likely to have a ton of early to mid-level tasks behind them. This being the thieving activities, pickpocketing wealthy citizens, stealing valuables from houses, the new thieving chests in Alderin, and of course the hunter skill. With the Hunters Guild being nestled in the middle of the Avium Savannah, hunters rumors coming from that, and the various different hunter creatures around the region. And this is a bit of a gem for the Valmore region, because it's no secret at this point, but the loot you get from Hunter's Rumors are basically a great alternative to Wintertodt crates, making them an excellent source of GP and skilling supplies, but also unlocking even better methods of travel within that region, which a lot of other regions lack in the first place. Now I could keep shoving Valmore and Hunter propaganda at you, but here is something I genuinely found interesting. Because your Hunter's Rumors assignments will only be given to you in regions that you have available, you could set up quite an efficient Hunter's Rumors task list to prioritize those more valuable hunter creatures, like Chinchompers or Herbivore, which have historically had other league tasks as well. And what's better than completing one league task at a time? Completing 2 league tasks at a time. I'm sure no one saw that coming. The other points of interest or main features in Valmore will of course have other tasks centered around them, but I'm not going to get into that too much. Perilous Moons, the Hueco Atoll, a Moxley Atoll, Colosseum, the new Herblore minigame, and we also got the exciting confirmation that Valdorvis is being made available for anyone who picks Valmore. For those of you out there that have seen a video I did with Double Shine where we talk through where we'd rank each region's content, I may have done some Valmore glazing, but I hope this now seems justified. You know, when we look back at those 3 characteristics I mentioned earlier, I would argue that in this league, Valmore ticks all 3 boxes. I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier on, which is that I would definitely consider there to be regions that are a bad first choice. Now, before people go molding in the comments, this consideration is if you intend to unlock all of your regions as quickly as possible. And the regions I consider a bad first pick are ones that have historically had a pretty rough time, particularly in the early game. Turamwin's main features can be boiled down to actually very few components. You've got the little village of Letia, Zulra, the city of Prifddinas, the Gauntlet, and Zalcano. Of course, there is plenty to do within the city of Prifddinas, so I don't want to underplay how valuable this is. But a lot of the big ticket items in this region aren't catered to lower level accounts, so it's always going to struggle in the early to mid game. In previous leagues, Turamwin actually ranked 9th out of a possible 10 when it came to the amount of easy and medium tasks there were to complete. And for similar reasons, the Fremennik region also struggles early on. But both of these do have their fair share of hard and elite tasks to make up for it. Also, I'll admit that this is quite a two-dimensional view of region ranking, because a region is not inherently bad if it lacks a lot of easy and medium tasks. Take the Wilderness, for example. You could quite easily skip the easy tier altogether by heading to the Rev Caves or Agility course and snowballing straight into the mid-game with a good amount of GP and gear to take on the Wilderness bosses, getting straight into those harder tasks. And with all of these factors in mind, I've put together a small tier list of strong first picks to the not so strong first pick regions. And listen, no hate to Turamwin and Fremi, but they're just better picked as your second or third region choices instead. And I expect this list will be more useful for any first-time League players because, at the end of the day, having experience in a particular region's content is going to favor you better in the long run. And I think this is the message that I would like to leave you all with today. Leagues is an 8-week-long temporary game mode. By no means is it a sprint. No one is going to care or remember if you picked an efficient route. And what's most important is that you enjoy your time playing it. So if you really want to pick those slightly less favorable early regions because you love them, or if your region choices are just downright questionable, then that's okay as well. I hope to catch you all on November the 27th when Leagues 5 goes live, and be sure to swing by my Discord if you want to have a chat about Leagues 5 or anything else that's going on in game. And on that note, that is it for today, so I will catch you all in the next one.